Well, a lot of it, a lot of stuff I gotta say. Very little time to say it, as per usual. Got some music going on in the background, so if you can hear that, well, hey, that's kind of my style. I had a bit of an interesting experience with some grays not too long ago. Yeah, they're here. These were part of a clan that uses them as slaves. Man, I hate that. Every term of the word slavery just that's pretty much what got them here in the first place. That clan got banned for slavery, mistreating other beings, and now they're here, they're still doing it. I keep trying to say, why don't you fight back? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? They just turn and run. They don't want to hear any of it. I'm pretty sure the last being that of their race had tried it. You know, I don't even need to say, because the cruelty that this clan has done. I really am very upset about how some beings can just trump over universal law. I mean, yeah, I've done it once or twice myself, but here, there's a reasoning behind this specific planet, this dimension that goes beyond any understanding that most places are like. Even with other beings trying to come here to intervene and, well, I guess you'd say phase in and out of our reality just for temporary. Even if they can't be seen by normal means. That's just something that I can't really explain. Sure, you could use some of this ghost hunter equipment. I don't freaking really want to say how this stuff works, because I know I'll be wrong about it. I'm not very well versed in it. Nonetheless, I could say that some of these beings, they're fairly decent in how they act. Others, not so much. It's why I actually joined up with Archangels, because there's always going to be some sort of crutch that is, I guess you could say, required to be able to keep things stable. Like, whether it be the Valkyrie, the Archangels, Guardian Angels, whichever you want to say which one's which. But my experience with the Guardian Angels before I actually advanced into the Archangels was, needless to say, help the innocent just to be themselves, just to go on with everyday life without being disturbed in whatever aspect of life that is, or should I say existence. That's how it really is. Like, they're immortals. They don't care about whether they live or die. They care for your life, but not without knowing that eventually they'll tire of it and then just want to fade from existence. It's the kind of acceptance that you don't have anywhere else. A peace of mind, just knowing how you can be there and then not be there anytime you please. I really find myself in a bit of a tight spot just coming back here and just being out of my own element, so to speak. I guess you could say it's sort of painful, really. A lot of what I'm trying to hold back is mostly ego, but it's, the other part of it is this adjustment that I'm having to go through as of recent. It has to do with the bit of, I guess you could say, energy transfer, power transfer, whichever you want to say, but just through memory flash, just that one little bit changed how my chakra works. Can tell I'm suffering to some extent. Well, as to be expected, considering I do suffer. And for what reason? Well, do I suffer for others? Or do I suffer for myself? You can answer that one by yourself. I mean, I've put up enough videos that, hey, I think you can at least answer that. Do I have some sort of pain childhood or something like that that you'd say, okay, well, he's just insane? No. Not really. In a way, I was like any other kid. Like any American kid, I guess you could say. Stuck in a life that they don't want, or stuck with a timeline that they don't really understand or how it works. Not by definition, really. Really, I'm just a normal, abnormal person. Introvert, doesn't want to go out well, or does things normally. I'd say I'm so unique that most would overstate things. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm trying to explain myself a little too much. How much is enough? You have an outlet like this, and people who want to listen, or just have one look at you and then turn the other way. I mean, I'm used to that. I don't honestly care. I mean, when I came back here, I half expected not to be accepted. I didn't mean to be accepted. I never had any intent to be accepted. My only intent was just to try and help out as much as possible. If I have to get people to accept me, then that's just something that goes against what I intend. I don't care really too much about the people. All I care about is how would it affect the future of everyone versus just one individual. Seriously, I have no effing clue as to how this is going to work out. I do love my kind. I love where I came from. I'm proud of it. But am I proud that we're imprisoned here? No. I want my kind to be free, and yet it just decides that it wants to go its own way. It wants to go a way of what the clans built here. The rogue clans, I might add. The good ones that I might say are actually doing the universe a favor by actually pulling out resources or doing certain things that no one else would want to do. And those clans are actually turning over a very, very well generous means to do something. If they trade between each other, that's fine. It's all about the resources to them. Everyone else that is in a clan, well, hey, go about their own business. If they want to help out a clan from time to time, they are allowed to do that. They're tasked, in other words, to do certain things. So long as there is a flow of resources, food, water, whatever else that is needed, and there is a clan for it. A friend of mine, I guess I could probably mention her name now since she's out of the clear and as well as I am. Her name's Arcom. I really do love her as a true friend. However, I don't want to cause any... I do not mean any harm by saying this, but something happened that she doesn't really want to discuss that much. But every time a being is forced from existence, that's let's just say it's not a nice experience. I mean, I've seen thousands, if not hundreds, of my own kind just they die right in front of me, and I don't freaking see them as they are, because I know they eventually just gain immortality anyways. Without being contained, so to speak, by whatever else is taking hold over this planet. Her name was Mon'na'ah. Now, I know what? Two females together? What? Hey, I don't think you really understand that. You see, the reason I say she as an Arcom, because, well, it's really hard to say. She has a personality, like that of a female. That's why I call her she. But she is hermaphrodite. She doesn't have a general sex. She's either male or female at any given time. But when it comes to her species and her race specifically, they look a bit like that of Anubis, a humanoid. In a way, they did contribute to a lot of Egyptian culture, but there's a lot of bad blood with what her clan, the past, involved in here, well, as a dimension. I know, I'm just dodging the issue. I don't like saying things about people beings being forced from existence. It's kind of a taboo to us. It's like you do something to another being to actually make them, will them to be forced from existence. Every time I think of that, to me that is horrible. I can remember every single thing that I had to force from existence for the sake of my own life, for my very own existence. I can think of several different ways I could have avoided it too. Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I think of it in the first place? That's what I keep thinking of. In a way, I have a mind of a veteran. And I'm not, but what? In total, human years, let's see, 8 years plus, what, 23? Something like 31. Sure, I'm freaking young, but soul-wise, that's more than enough. They give you enough time to be traumatized for several times over. And for a human, you definitely have to wonder. I mean, look at it this way. I got ran over by a freaking car, or truck or vehicle at, like, somewhere around the 1880s, 1850s, somewhere in there. I can't remember when. That's how bad it was for me. To be able to see your own body and watch as just everybody's crowding around your dead body. Not fun. But eventually knowing that, hey, you're a freaking mortal, you can do whatever the hell you want. Now that's something that you really have to think about. I mean, Source didn't let us exist for any period of time just because, hey, we are who we are. There's no real issue, too great or small, that cannot be done with a unlimited amount of time. I mean, if you're immortal, look at it this way. You've got all the freaking time you could ever want. There is no sense of time ever. You want to know why we say there's no time in there is absolutely no time in the higher dimensions? We're freaking immortal. We don't give a shit about time. It's pathetic. Really, it isn't. that bad at all. People make such a big deal about time because they don't have that same sort of sense of immortality that we do. Hallelujah. It just sucks. I gotta be with Source. I hope your time with Arkham was enough. Even the time with your own people. I didn't really get to know her personally, but some of the memories that I had, shared memories I have with Arkham, well, she really did love her. Whatever, commercial. All I can say is that I guess this would be an opportunity to really say whoever is I guess I just have come to call it dusted, because every time you are you are forced from existence, you just turn into a ton of freaking particles that you can, that I personally know as things like, all of those embers from come from a fire? It's like that, only on a much larger scale. Suddenly you're there, and then all those embers flying all over the place. Gone. Never coming back. I guess, in a way, the reason why I chose to try to change my species somewhat is that if I was gonna look the part when I went out, and hey, I'm gonna look the freaking part. I'm gonna go out in style, man. I'm not gonna just sit around just saying, okay, I freaking exist. Here I am. Let's just sit around and do nothing. Oh, crap. What the hell is this coming? Blah, dead. Somewhat. Or if you can call that permadeath. And it's not entirely death. Part of you becomes someone else's soul. You go straight back to source, you're recreated, and other things happen. I'm not going to really go into the complicated matters of how source, I guess you could say, recycles energy. That's his jurisdiction. His, her, it, I don't care. It's just source. It's just a force of how the multiverse works and how things are created and destroyed, how things are remaining in balance, etc. Save for chaos. Chaos destroys more things than it creates, unfortunately. It makes room to create stuff, but it doesn't really help much. I mean, sure, you can actually keep creating and creating until, oh no, there's too much stuff in one space. What are we gonna do? That's why there's a balance. There's always going to be a balance. I want AI will have something, the universe, multiverse that's like chock full of stuff and there's never a dull moment. But that's not relatively possible in a multiverse as big as this. Even so. I mean, you got stuff all the way up to freaking 21 dimensions. That's as far up as I've known it to be, but you know, that's all I've really heard is rumors that there are 21 dimensions and no more. There could be numerous ones, like branches off of a single dimension, or say there's a tree of dimensions. Like there's like 3D has several different branches from just this one dimension, from its main source dimension. Humans create time and time again. They do art, they create music. You have all these different types of universes and stuff that are based around that. How is that possible, you ask? Think about it. How many times have we actually made something and actually expressed it, wrote it out, shared it with everyone else? Any impact that's made actually creates something. If someone else says, oh, I like what you created, hey, you've actually contributed to creating a new universe. Congrats. Sometimes it does make sense, other times it doesn't. Subconsciously, we actually create. We're beings of creation. And there's the other part that's subconsciously brings about destruction. That little balance that we have that no other beings have, and they're practically jealous of. And I think, say for the Pleiadians, which have been around since the Nephilim, I guess you could say. And the Nephilim are pretty freaking, like, how should I say it? There's the Nephilim, and there's the Pleiadians, and there's, it's either, this was debatable, one of the ones that were discovered first. They've always been going on and on about, well, scholars have been trying their absolute best, but to the best of their abilities, it's a pretty damn close tie. The Archons and the Reptilians. Don't ask me how that works, because I honestly don't know. Then there was some of the outlying dog star systems that developed, and like they grew from creatures evolved, that sort of thing. Like sort of like humankind evolved from the ape. That quote unquote evolved. I don't really say too much about that, but hey, that's how it works. I'm not disowning it just yet. As to actually who created humankind, I don't freaking know. I still don't know. Because one clan claims it, and another clan claims it. It's like, oh, we claimed it because we wanted to blah blah blah. There's always some weird kind of intent, because we will create humanity for so-and-so reason. but its purpose is still, excuse me, still unknown. Well, I guess you could say our own purpose is still unknown to us, but the reasoning and purpose that intents that humans were created for, well, something different entirely. I could go into the freaking history of my own personal view of history. Nonetheless, I still find myself in a bit of a pickle. Where do I go from here? Well, as of recent developments, I've been informed by another acquaintance of mine, Rick B. I'm not going to say his last name. That, man, you're coming back. Well, that throws a freaking wrench in my plans. I'm like, damn it, I was going to go all over the freaking place doing as I pleased, but knowing what the Anunnaki do when they freaking land, what the hell? They land on any freaking planet, they're gonna freaking destroy it. No, thank you. I'd rather not. I'd rather keep my home. Thank you very much. I actually did a little bit of discussion with them. They are here, per se, but phased out of reality. I guess for all that it's worth, they are here, but they aren't. Phased is phased. They are not going to be able to come through without bringing their ship with them. And if they do bring their ship with them, what I stated earlier, destroy the freaking planet. Yeah. I hope they don't.